So, oi! I was gonna do something cool there, but I actually stepped on, it didn't turn out so cool. Back in 2017, I fell down the rabbit hole of Sony APSC. That makes more than 4 years that I've been using this system, and during that time, I've accumulated quite the stash of lenses, you know. Now in today's video, I want to share with you my favorite lenses for this system, for both photography and filmmaking and videography, you understand? Yo, Karla frétta. My name is Arnaldur and I'm a photographer and a video creator from Iceland. So, without further ado, let's, start this video. But first, my friends, if you could please smack that like button for me, because, it really helps me out. Alright, so my first lens that we are going to talk about is this lens here. This is the Sony 10-18. Like, these lenses are not particular order of my favorite. These are all lenses that I use a whole lot, both for photography and videography, as I just said. And I'll talk a little bit about them and then also, where I use them most. Is it like this scenario, photography, videography, and also tell you the bad things, So, start with this one, the Sony 10-18. This is a fairly small, very compact lens. You can see it here. I'll also be, is this in focus? Is it catching? Oh, there it's catching the focus. I think so. As you can see, it looks like this. It has OSS, which is optical stabilized, optical steady shot, that means. So it's stabilized, which I appreciate a whole lot because I'm shooting on a Sony a6-300 and an a6-400. Those are not stabilized at all. It also goes down to f4, so it might not be the low light, the beast that you are looking for. I personally like this lens a whole lot. I use it for both photography. Lots of my photos are taken on this. I'll throw up a few here that I shot on this lens. What I do like about it when it comes to the photography with it is that it's very wide. It's 10 millimeters. On an APS-C it's like 14-ish millimeters. So you have that super wide angle shot, and I'm a sucker for wide angle photos. I really much like that perspective. It's also sharp throughout all the focal lengths, which I appreciate, and the fact that you can change focal lengths to 10-18 millimeters makes it super versatile too. I myself like that a whole lot. Now, where I use this lens hands down the most is for vlogging. There are people outside the studio talking. I'm not sure if you can register it, but they shouldn't. I should put a big lap, that is Swedish. I should put a big sign like YouTuber talking, do not. Anyways, apologies if you hear that. So, what I was saying, this is my go-to vlog lens. When I'm out vlogging, this sits on the camera almost all the time. Why? Because it's stabilized, which I like, and the 10 millimeter makes it so I can film my entire face without sticking my hand going super wide. Absolutely love it. And because it is versatile and you can take it down to 80 millimeters, I have some variety on the shot. So I find myself often when I'm vlogging, is that I often have that on almost the entire time. Not always. There are a few other lenses that I use incredibly much, but I appreciate that you can, zoom a little bit in. So, negative about this lens, I mean, some people could say yeah, it's only f4, that doesn't make it a beast. Well, they're not advertising it as being on f1.4, it's f4. Of course, I would like it to be a little bit, Of course, everybody likes lenses that they can open up more, but this isn't. And the price point, it's a little bit expensive, but in my opinion, I like it a lot, and I've used it so much. So for me, this was I recommend it. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, I'm not going to keep this any longer on this lens. I have a full tutorial on it. I'll link it up there. So, go ahead on and check that if that is something that interests you. My next lens, ladies and gentlemen, that we're going to talk about. Let's talk about the Sigma 16mm. Now, Sigma 16mm is a lens that a lot of people like a whole lot. It's 16mm and it goes down to f1.4, which is fantastic. Now, the reason I'm not holding it here in my hands and I have free hands right now is that it sits on my camera. The Sigma 16mm for me is my go-to talking to heads video. Since I got it, which is 2 years ago, it's been sitting all of the video where you see me talking like this in this perspective, it's shot on the Sigma 60mm. So there you have the answer to that question. I know some of you ask hey, what's your lens that you use for go-to talking headshots? And it is the Sigma 60mm. Now, although I'm not holding it, I am gonna throw up a B-roll of the lens while I reference to it, magic of filmmaking. Now, the lens size is a little beefy. It's medium-sized, pretty heavy, but not too much, and with this big focus ring in the middle. I think it feels robust. It is not stabilized, so I don't really use it that much for filmmaking, except for my talking headshots here in the studio. And that was the biggest reason for me getting it. I wanted to get this wide angle look. I think this is a similar to 24mm look on a full frame system, But with that f1.4, I wanted you to see, you see the bokeh that we get here behind me? This is because we have f1.4, and this video right now is filmed on f1.4, and at f1.4 it's still pretty sharp. Also, the Sigma lenses here, I'm gonna take up a few more, they're sharp. It's extremely good. So I also use it quite a lot for photography. One little thing that I appreciate also with this lens, I'm saying Sigma 60mm a whole lot, ain't I? But one thing I appreciate a lot is the focus distance is very, very narrow. So you can almost use it as a macro. No, it's not a macro lens, but you can get very, very close. I can't remember exactly, but I throw it up here. I think it's better. We have a little darker area here on the, frame. But this is the focus distance that you can get to a subject. And that is a super cool feature because you can get very, 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 very close. And the bokeh then is fantastic. Now, what more can you say about the Sigma 60mm? I mean, it's affordable, definitely. Close focus distance, f1.4, like a low light beast because of that. Very nice for talking headshots. It's not stabilized, but you can't get everything. But if it were stabilized, then I would probably use it way more for filmmaking. And yeah, I also, have a full tutorial, full overview and a review of the Sigma 60mm. You know where to find it, up there. Alright, so next, let's go to a lens that is probably my most used lens of all time, and that is this beast here. This is the Sony 18-105. To me, this has been an absolute workhorse. I've used it for so many things. Photography and videography. It's stabilized, so you can so many things. The biggest thing I like about it is that how versatile it is. If you could only get one lens, I would highly recommend getting this lens. And this was my first ever lens when I bought this, because I wanted something super versatile. You see, I've learned how to say that word. Versatile. 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 I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Now, it is not too big. It is nice big, if you understand that, what I'm saying. And it has, this focus ring and this zoom ring. One thing that is cool about it is that when you zoom, it doesn't change sizes, which I like a lot, especially when you're using it on a gimbal. Then you don't have to, worry about the weight shifting and all that stuff. Very, very, very much like. You have this little button also here, which is like a zoom in, electronic zoom in, is that what you say? But basically you can zoom in and zoom out by doing this, and it's gonna zoom in very, very, very steady for you, which is something which is a little bit cool. I don't really use it, but I can imagine myself seeing a scenario with that, be like, oh, that's cool that I can do that. But above all, I really much appreciate that this is really a lens that can kind of do all. It's not best really at anything, but it's good at a whole lot of things. You can go down and get it 80mm, look, so you can get it fairly wide, and then you can also punch in to get some super, compressed. That was at 105mm. Now it's only f4, so it's not your low light beast. And some people would say can it then get some nice bokeh? If you go to the higher focal lengths with the higher range from 70 to 105, there you can get some very beautiful bokeh. So, and that is also the focal length from 50 to 100 that is very flattering for portrait either way. So I've used this lens a whole lot for portrait photography too, and you can get a little I don't know, I'm always talking about bokeh. Everybody when they're starting out, it's if there's bokeh, it's a good lens. It's not really that simple, but I'm a photographer. I do appreciate some good bokeh, Anyways, what have we said? It's stabilized. I like it for both photography and filmmaking. It sits on my camera a whole lot, and when you slap it on, you don't really have to change, really. And that I appreciate a lot. If I had to say something negative, maybe it's maybe not the sharpest lens out there. And as I said, at the what is the word? At the expense of it being so versatile and being good at so many things, I think it's not, a master of anything. But as I've been saying, if you can only get one lens, this is the lens that I am recommending, and this was my first lens. So, on to the next lens, my friends. Alright, so let's talk about this little lens here. This here, can we do it like this? See, there's it catching? There, it's catching it. Like so. And we do here, whoa. Oh, nice. So this little lens here, it's tiny. It really is tiny, and it's the Sony 35mm. Now it goes down to f1.4, and it has OSS, so it's stabilized. It's a prime lens, which is nice. I'll be honest with you though, I don't use it that much, but it's always in my backpack because of the size. there are some times where I've been like, nah, I'm not gonna take it, then I regret it. And now I'm like, it doesn't take any size and it's super lightweight, so why not? It's tiny. Now on a APS-C system, this comes down to around 50mm, which is a very nice look to have. So I like keeping this in my backpack. I mainly use it for photography. You can get some beautiful shots also with it when it's when you are doing filmmaking. I haven't done that a whole lot with this lens. I use other lenses for that purpose, 18-105 or some other lenses. But for photography, I like the look a whole lot. And one thing that I also like with this lens is just to use this and the Sony APSC, because that is very small combo. That combo is so freaking small, and then just going downtown and not worrying about all the other lenses and just have a good time with myself and taking lots of photos and street shots and that. I like that too, and then I'm not carrying a whole lot. Heard that? I didn't roll the R's there. Then I'm carrying. I'm learning your language, motherfuckers. What was I saying? I was saying that I'm not, carrying a whole lot of weight. One thing I've noticed with this lens, and I know that some of you have it, maybe also have noticed it, is that it does have some, chromatic aberration. Is that how you say it? Chromatic aberration. The fringes in the trees, it has some pretty severe of those. Now those can be fixed post, but it's something that I've noticed with this one, and that I keep in mind that if there are a lot of trees around me, then maybe this is, it has some chromatic aberration. Other than that, f1.8, beautiful bokeh, super nice for photography. I always say it is a good for low light. The truth is that I'm not really a low light photographer. I say every winter that now it's gonna change. I'm gonna step out and do low light photography, because I follow so many low light photographers on Instagram. Love the look. Just I haven't gone out doing it. But this winter, my friends, you're gonna see that Icelandic guy is gonna be a low light photographer. You like that? You like when I go like this and we go get all the blurs around me? But yeah, like keeping it in my backpack. So here, I think we should talk about this one. I might have noticed I'm just going up the focal length, from 10, 16, 35, 18-105. And here, my friends, is the Sigma 56mm. This lens, I'll open it like this, is by far my favorite portrait lens that I own and that I've tried so far. Absolutely love it. It's razor sharp and it goes down to f1.4, so you can get beautiful bokeh. 55mm on this APS-C, but this comes to around 84, so it's that right up that alley of the 85mm, which is the go-to portrait look. And it's not that expensive either in the terms of, when it comes to cameras. Everything in the camera world is, it's expensive. But this one, in the terms of everything here, not so expensive. Now, it's not that big, but it isn't as small as this here, the Sony 35mm that they just talked about. You can see it's double that size. Can you see that even? I'll do like this. It takes a while for it to focus there. You can see here, it's half the size maybe, or something like that. It's also a little bit heavier. Maybe just the glass is heavier. I don't know. I'm not a technician. I don't know everything that is happening within, I just use them. I don't know how to make them. You understand? It has a big focus ring and it's smooth. It's smooth and I like that. What more can we say? It's not stabilized and I do not really use it for filming. I do not really use it for filmmaking at all. You could probably do it, and I haven't. I don't really think I've ever really done it. At that focal length without any sort of stabilization, it's gonna shake. I'll throw up a clip here and it's a little bit shaky. Before photographing, that's where and especially in the portrait world, that's where I use it a whole lot. Now I also sometimes use it for street shot because I like that little bit more compressed look. This photo here, for instance, shot at the 85mm, absolute beast. And I can imagine that if you go out in the nighttime, which I'm gonna start doing this winter, hopefully, maybe it's gonna be next winter, I don't know. Let's see if I have time, But this lens, I like it, It's, what more can I say? It's my go-to portrait lens. I've done, all of these lenses I've showed you, everything that I've shot here for social media is shot on these. Tons of footage I've shot with this lens and the other lenses that I showed you. Also the time that I do client work, which isn't that much nowadays, but then I use also these lenses. For instance, the other day I was doing a photo shoot with Epidemic Sound and it was like a professional photo shoot environment and everything, and it was for model photography, and then I used like, I think this was the lens that I used the absolute most, the Sigma 56mm, to get like nice portrait of the artist. So yeah, I can't recommend this enough. Really recommend this lens. And by the way, I'm not getting paid to say any of this. Nothing. I do have affiliate links on Amazon, so if you do decide to buy them, consider buying them through my links. Then you get a tiny bit of commission, which is nice. That helps me out. Alright, so these are my favorite lenses that I currently have. I have a few more there on the shelf, but these are the ones that I like the most. However, I don't think this video will be complete except, I talk about two more lenses that are extremely popular and I've tried before, but I don't own them, so I can't really show them. So just talk about them quickly. And that is the Sony 16-55 f2.8. Oh, such a workhorse. Fantastic lens in my opinion. I don't think, was it stabilized? I actually don't think it was stabilized. Before photography, then you're just covered. You're covered. It's razor sharp, if I remember correctly, throughout the focal lengths. f2.8, so you can get very nice bokeh, very nice low light performance. And I enjoyed using the lens a whole lot. Now it is expensive, I know that, but I have friends that own it and they're very happy with it and say like it's a workhorse. You put it on your camera and it's not going anywhere, I like that a lot. Now another lens that I actually just ordered and I've tried before is like Sony 70-300. Yeah, 70-300 I think it is. And then it's like f5 to 6. I'll put everything here. But it's not really a low light beast, but it's super long. It's like super telephoto lens. Do you say that super telephoto lens? You understand what I'm saying? It's like a telephoto lens for an APS-C camera, and it's very lightweight. It's not big at all. When you do zoom, it gets very long, but it's super lightweight. Like I've handled these big, white lenses from the full frame system. They're heavy. This one is not heavy, and because it's on, it's 350, right? Yes, it's 70-350. Just remembered. Now, 350 on APS-C is like equivalent to almost like 500 millimeters. So you can get very compressed shots. And I've enjoyed that lens a whole lot. And in these focal lengths, I don't think that it costs that much. By no means, the perfect lens, but a very fun lens to have in your arsenal. And in a few days, I'm gonna add it to my arsenal. All right, everybody, so that is it. If you could, smack that like button again. I know it said in the beginning, but you can never, ask a good question. That is not even a good question. You can never ask too many times. That's what I'm trying to say. Also, I really appreciate you watching. Your support really means the world to me. If you have any questions, as always, that you can feel free to ask in the comments down below. And yeah, I don't think there is anything else. Is there anything else? No. I like that you are here, and I will catch you guys in the next video. I'm out. Peace!